Now we're looking at experiment 2, which is the effect of elevated temperature on enzyme activity. And the reaction that we're going to be looking at is the breakdown of hydrogen peroxide. So hydrogen peroxide is H2O2 right there. So hydrogen peroxide is going to be our substrate. Now hydrogen peroxide is generally produced during when cells are metabolic. So our cells will produce this hydrogen peroxide, and that material can be very toxic to our cells. So our cells have to have a way of breaking it down. So we have an enzyme called Catalase, which is responsible for breaking hydrogen peroxide down into water, which you see here, and oxygen. So water and oxygen would end up being our products, correct? So we have hydrogen peroxide as our substrate. We have water and oxygen as our products. And again, our enzyme would be what? Our enzyme would be catalase, and there's that ACE at the end that helps indicate that as an enzyme. So you're going to look at the effect of this reaction. How can we alter the rate of this reaction by changing the temperature in which that enzyme is located within. So our source of catalase in this experiment is potato, because potato cells also have a lot of catalase. And they also have to break down hydrogen peroxide. So we're going to use potato as our source for catalase. And what you're going to begin by doing as you read through your procedure, you want to cut 2 pieces of potato into about a 2 centimeter by 2 centimeter cube. You do not want to leave any of the skin on the outside of the potato, because that will just inhibit the surface area, right? So you want to make sure you don't have any skin on it. You want to make sure those pieces are approximately the same size. And then you're going to drop 1 slice or 1 little chunk cube of potato into your 400 ml beaker, all right? And you're going to cover that with room temperature water. So just room temp water. So you're going to cover or submerge that potato piece up. There you go. Room temperature water. The second cube of potato that you make, you're going to put in a little saucepan that you can put on the stove to heat up. If you don't have a stove, you can use the microwave. So read the instructions. It gives you the alternate way of doing it using the microwave. But I'm going to go ahead. I drew a little saucepan here, and I'm going to talk about putting it on the stove. So you're going to, and this again is at number 3, place the second potato cube in a small kitchen pan and cover with water. So you're going to cover that with water and then put it on your stove and bring the temperature of the water up to 60 degrees Celsius. Now make sure when you're reading your thermometer that you are reading the Celsius scale. So bring it up to 60 degrees Celsius and then leave it there at that temperature as best you can for 15 minutes. Okay, so remember how I'm just gonna throw out a little hint here. Remember how when we talked about enzymes and how they have a particular shape or structure because they're made of proteins, and that things like heat could break the bonds between the components of the protein, which we call amino acids, but could break those interactions and actually cause that protein to change its shape, or in other words, it could denature the protein. So heat can potentially denature the enzyme. And remember that denaturing means that you've changed its shape, rendering it inactive. So that's kind of what we're studying here. We're going to see what happens to that catalase inside the potato when we heat it up. So again, that's an important thing to remember, is that the catalase is what we're actually after. The catalase is in the potato. Okay, now once you've done that and they both sat there either in the room temperature water or the one that you've heated up for 15 minutes, then you're going to transfer them into your little cups. So you're going to have 1 cup that you're going to put a C on, that's going to be your control, and another cup that you're going to put an E on, that's your experimental, and the room temperature potato cube goes into the control cup. The heated potato goes into the experimental cup. Then you're going to cover those cubes with hydrogen peroxide. So this was something that it tells you in your lab instructions that you need to go and purchase. You need to provide that for yourself. So just get a bottle of hydrogen peroxide at Walmart or Walgreens, or you can find it anywhere. And you're going to want to cover those potato slices up with the hydrogen peroxide. And so again, we have those little potato cubes in here. There we go. Okay. So it tells you, I'm at number 9 at this point then, that you then want to describe the difference between the control and the experimental cups. Because once you add hydrogen peroxide on top of those potato cubes, you're going to see something happen in one or both of the cups. It's going to kind of depend. What you're looking for is for the presence of active catalase. Now, go back up and look at my reaction I've drawn for you there. If you have active catalase and you break that hydrogen peroxide down, you're going to produce water and oxygen. So you're going to see a really visual event if that reaction is taking place. And what you're going to see are oxygen bubbles forming. When oxygen gets released, when we break that hydrogen peroxide down, it forms little oxygen bubbles. So you can call it effervescence. It's like a carbonated beverage, right? When you see all the little bubbles in there. The bubbles that will form if the reaction is taking place is the oxygen that's being liberated or released as a result of that reaction taking place. So that's what you're going to look for in your control and your experimental cups. You want to look to see, are there any oxygen bubbles forming that might show or indicate that the catalase is being active. Okay, so I hope all that made sense to you. Again, it's a great little experiment. And then you want to be sure once you have finished all of that, this little activity, that you write your observations down, put that data into Canvas, and answer the questions associated with that experiment.